I think it's something everyone's kind of felt. You know, you go through something powerful in your life and you feel like you're in a state of free fall. I started using free fall as a title for a series I started last year, and the series depicts a kind of geometric figure falling through space. I really was thinking of kind of a mental or a psychological sensation. I grew up 2 blocks north of the World Trade Center, and I was home alone on 9/11 getting ready for school. So, you know, I saw a lot that day. It just shaped my life immensely, you know. I lost my neighborhood. I saw probably a lot of things that most people in the US don't see. I think it took me a really long time to approach it as a subject because it is very personal. When I switched into a new body of work, it just called for really different types of imagery. So I went into autobiography, which is not something I've done before as an artist. At the beginning, you're kind of greeted by a faux elevator bank. I thought, why not present you with something that isn't a painting show? I decided to utilize both galleries and the space in between as kind of a massive installation. So it incorporates elements of what I kind of consider American corporate architecture. You know, from like the coloring, like the beiges, the grays, very neutral colors that are supposed to kind of placate you. To the windows, I really wanted to create a windowless corridor. And that really just comes from memories that I had going to my mom's office in the World Trade Center, where I would just walk down these like winding windowless corridors until I finally got to her office. You're looking at the images of actual people. These are not fictitious characters. They're all the kind of famous faces of 9/11. There's Marcy Borders, who's, you know, known as like the Dust Lady. There's Rachel Uschitel, who lost her fiance in the attack and then kind of went on to having a reality TV show career. And then there's Stan Honda, who took the infamous Dust Lady photo. The process with the works in this show begins with making a computer model. So I work with an animator and I art direct him, and we purchase elements essentially. So we go onto 3D marketplaces, we'll purchase hair, glasses, makeup, I mean, all kinds of things. And then we'll start to assemble everything. We go back and forth for a while until we finally get what I'm looking for. The actor, the makeup, the prop styling, the lighting, and the setting. And then we take a still in many different layers and prepare a multi-layered file for a very like lo-fi airbrush printer that I have. We project the image that I've made with the animator, and I apply liquid rubber in a variety of ways. Usually pretty much only utilize a dish sponge, an air gun, and a paintbrush to splatter. And then I kind of cover the painting with these, you know, quasi like gestural marks, and then we bring the canvas in front of the printer, print the image, remove the rubber. The imagery is very three-dimensional, and the grid is kind of the ultimate flattening gesture. The rubbering and what looks like I'm erasing the image is really a reminder that it's a painting. You know, these are like the gestures we're used to seeing, but they're kind of behaving in a weird way with the imagery. They're subtracting, they're not adding. With this very gruesome painting, this is like video game imagery. This is something that children look at on a TV every day. The interest is really utilizing contemporary imagery. Something I think about is Rauschenberg applying photography to the canvas and how that marks a radical departure and really a new beginning for how photography relates to painting, and how you can, without the use of the gesture of the hand, create imagery. I kind of see the airbrush printing as coming out of that trajectory. My dad was a film projectionist at MoMA, so when he would bring me into work to spend time with him, we got to see the museum often before it opened for the day. I remember one day walking into a painting gallery at MoMA as a young kid, and then it really hit me that the reason all of these painters were in this room was because they had an original idea for representing how they saw the world. It just sort of struck me that it was about creating an original idea.